Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this session. This session is being hosted by the Himalayan Book Club, which is a Himalayan writing retreat initiative. I'll be sharing a link in the group in case you have not joined it till now. You can join us. Neha's book, which we are going to be discussing in today's session, is available in the book club and you can apply for it as well. Today, we are going to be speaking to Neha Sharma to let you know a bit about her. She's born and brought up in the city of Taj, Agra. Neha did her schooling from St. Paul's Church School, Agra, and a first-class master's in English literature from St. John's College. A bright student from the very beginning, she's been one of amongst the toppers of her class throughout her academic career. Being an only daughter of an English professor at Agra College, she spent her growing years with books as her constant companion. While waiting for her class 10 results, she was allured by the thick volume of Thomas Hardy's Test of the Upperwheels that marked a foray into the world of intense reading. From the Bronte sisters to D.H. Lawrence to Leo Tolstoy, nothing was left untouched. The quest continued as she chose English literature as a subject for higher studies. The latent flame to replace the reading marathon with writing endeavors had started burning within her unknowingly, but remained camouflaged as life took its own course. She got married, became the mother of two lovely girls, and was caught in the whirlpool of duties and responsibilities. The other day, she suddenly realized that the empty nest syndrome was about to hit her when her elder daughter, having already taken the flight, and the younger one was on the cusp of it. The latent flame began to flicker once again. The added advantage now was that the myriad shades and shadows of life she had witnessed, having traveled the length and breadth of the country with her husband, who had a transferable job, it was high time that she penned down her thoughts, views, and stories lurking around the nooks and corners of Indian homes. One word followed another, and 2 years of labor and perseverance resulted in the birth of your debut novel, Are You My Twin Flame? This is Neha Sharma, a 45 years old homemaker trying to revive a long lost dream of being a successful writer. Welcome to this session, Neha. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, Namrata. And I look forward to this meeting.
Same here, same here. So we'll start the conversation.
Well, we can continue.
Yeah. So we'll start by speaking of your novel, Are You My Twin Flame? The storyline is that is very women-centric and is extremely high on emotions, revolving around the challenges faced by women in day-to-day life. So how did you conceive this whole idea?
Okay, I cannot pinpoint to some particular moment or some precise happening which led to the evolution of this novel. It was a gradual process and a gradual look into the society. Actually, like we see happy married couples all around, and Facebook and Instagram is full of pictures brimming with happiness. And but I feel that that is just the tip of the iceberg. And then I wanted to delve deeper into the ocean to see the marital realities of Indian households, Indian society. And though my characters belong to India, but this is fact for whole of the world. It exists throughout the world. Like Veerdas recently is in controversy about his gig about two Indias. So I have also written about that ugly India or ugly world, we may say. So it was about that, we go to the movies and then the hero and heroines get married and it is an happy ending. Kabir Singh, he got married to Preeti and it was a happy ending. I wanted to progress further on what happens. Is it really a happy ending? What goes on in reality? In fact, one of my characters, people might feel that he's a take on Kabir Singh. He gets married, but what about his married life? So I wanted to go there, wanted to go into those dark alleys and see what happens there. And this is how this book was born. And it is actually a mix of reality and fiction. It is not a total fiction, neither a total reality. A mix of both. Whatever I have written about does exist in our society. Some people might think that because what I've written is not very socially proved subject. So some people might raise eyebrows that what she is writing about, all those are taboo topics. But in our adult world, they do exist. In India, they do exist. And so I wanted to write about that. Women-centric, definitely, but not feminist. But yeah, my protagonists, both of them are females, and I've written about the challenges they face. Like, you know what? I feel that the women of lower society, like the working class, are maids and buys. They are more vocal about their problems, what they face in their life. They don't try to hide that. But women of the higher society are high class. They leave no stone unturned to camouflage their realities, present a rosy picture before the society, but deep underneath it is not necessarily rosy. So that was what I wrote about, and also their strength and courage, how they rise to all the occasions. And well, the end is of course definitely something nail biting that we won't talk about just now. So this
Yeah.
is how the concept of the novel was born.
Sure. I find it very interesting that you say this because I remember reading many years before actually Kabir Singh came up was that DDLJ was loved. You know, I'm a 90s girl where I grew up in the 90s, and DDLJ was something we all loved. And everybody was like, we loved it because it just showed the wooing. Had they shown the life after marriage, because what
Exactly.
happens in Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum is that they're nagging each other as husband and wife. So when you
Hmm.
see that, you realize that it is not that beautiful always. It's just because the wooing phase looks like that. So I love that you mentioned and you brought that, the movies are also like that. It reminded me of that. So
And yes,
coming,
one thing more, like you talked of DDLJ.
yeah.
So I've written about Gen X, Gen
Mhm.
Z, the present generation. My novel, the theme of my novel, does not refer to this present generation. The
Yeah.
girls of the present generation are much more advanced, much more. They will react to a situation. They won't take it lying down. But our generation, the Gen X generation, that was much more tolerant, and it was accepted by them that they will take it everything. They'll take it lying down. So I have chosen that period and not the present.
Present.
My book and my story doesn't
Yeah.
apply to the present generation. They are totally progressive and way ahead of their times. So DDLJ was, yeah, part of that time, my story.
Yeah. So for a first time writer, writing a debut novel, which is a literary fiction, is not easy. So what are some of the challenges that you faced while working on your novel and how did you overcome that?
When I look back, I really feel that I didn't face any challenge. It gradually evolved, and I don't know when I started writing. Actually, it began with blog, small 100 words or 200 words blog on Mom's Presso channel, Mom's Presso website. And initially, when I used to write 100 words, I used to feel, wow, I've written this and I posted this. I have done something, achieved something.
Yeah.
Then there was this Write India contest by Times of India, where
Huh.
they asked for stories from 1,000 words to 3,000 words. And I
Right.
started sending stories for that. So then 1,000 words seemed so huge, so gigantic. Then 3,000 words, and it took about a week or so to write one story. But with
Right.
time, they started seeming so normal. 1,000 words, okay, I'll write it fast. I'll write it. That was when I got into that thing, and I felt that yes, I can write, and it became so normal to write. Didn't seem like a challenge. Then, of course, as I have told you, that I was into reading since my
Yeah.
childhood. And the prerequisite for writing is that you read. And then I was reading and reading and reading. So I felt that now it is a time to write down something. There were so many ideas, so many things happening around personally and in the society.
Right.
So from 100 words to 1,000 words to 3,000 words, and then the words became endless. I kept on penning down, penning, and I didn't feel like a challenge. Of course, then the main thing is that I didn't have to worry about the financial burdens of being a housewife or stay-at-home mom. So I had a lot of time at my disposal, and my kids, my girls were grown up. They didn't need me. One, as I told you, one of them has already left. Of course, she came back after pandemic. So a lot of free time at hand, and then with pandemic there was no social meetings, no going out.
Yeah.
So that time, I think that was the best time I could have have done this. And so it happened. I didn't feel any challenge at all. It happened in due course of time by itself. So no challenges. That's it.
Okay. So, Naira and Kittu, what was your inspiration? Were they inspired from anybody you knew or your real life or from your own experiences? How did you draw the characters? They are very interesting. They come from a very similar kind of a background, and yet they are different like chalk and cheese. Their challenges, their output to life is very different, and it's very interesting to see their story come through. So, how did you devise these characters?
Can you listen to me?
Yeah, I can. I can.
Okay. So Naira and Kittu. Okay, I can't say that I can pinpoint to anybody in particular, any one character in particular from where I drew this inspiration. They
Mhm.
are both again a mixture of so many characters I have seen, bit of me, bit of others, and again a bit of reality, a bit of imagination. They are all a mixture of that. No one in, but I feel like my readers when they read
Mhm.
this, women especially, and women in by Gen X women, they might find a little of themselves in each of them, a little of themselves in Naira, a little of themselves in Kittu, because I feel that nobody's life is perfect. There are challenges, hidden challenges,
True.
and yes, and then the strength to rise like a phoenix. Every one of us have that, feel
Right.
that. I think my readers will identify with these both characters. So way that, like I'm saying, but yes, in 40 or 45 years of my life, like I told you, I've been throughout India, so many places from south to north, and been in contact with so many cultures and societies. I felt that yes, what we get to see in our status, high families, high status families, are happy families, very couples much in love and all that. But then you never know what goes on behind the four
Yeah.
walls.
True.
And nobody tells, nobody shares. But what would I write about happy family? Nothing to write about that. You'll write about something which is not, which is not normal. You'll write about something which is far
Yeah.
from normal, away from normal. So what goes on within these four walls? I wrote about those screams of silent women. I wanted to be the voice of the women. There are screams of silent women, silent screams within four walls of the houses which nobody hears. So I wanted to be that voice, that voice of Naira, voice of Kittu. Both of them suffer, but in a different way. But so I wanted maybe silent screams. Yes, I have written about silent screams of pain and agony, as well as silent screams of joy and ecstasy. There was some glamour also in my book. So maybe silent screams would have been a nice name.
Yeah.
It would have sold, maybe it would have sold more copies, but no. Then twin flame, the word twin flame actually refers to the climax of my book. That is where we get to know about twin flames. So yes, Naira and Kittu, these are both characters which very much exist in our society, and they, I won't pinpoint to anybody in particular, but yes, a mix of so many people I have met, a mix, a little bit of me and little bit of imagination in both the characters. That's how they were born.
That's great actually to know. So you've opted for self-publishing in this book.
Yeah.
So how was your experience of self-publishing, and what would you advise to writers who are looking to self-publish their works? Any things to avoid? Any tips?
Okay. Look, I tried both for traditional publishing and self-publishing as well, and there were mixed reviews about both, pros and cons of both the both type of publications. But then, of course, traditional publications don't give chance to debut novelists very often. You have to have certain something that they will accept your debut work, and then they require a lot of time for that. Uh,
Yeah.
the waiting period is quite long, 6 months or more, and then you keep on waiting and waiting. So, and it is really difficult that if you're a debut novelist and you'll get a traditional publisher for yourself, then you will be highly lucky person, highly fortunate. So I think so you have to delve into self-publishing for the first time. And then again, there are so many self-publishers out there.
Yeah.
And so you have to decide, choose which one to choose. So I did quite a lot of research, and then the package, the best things being offered at that price and all that, those things went into the choosing of the publisher. And yes, they responded well, they did things within time. And so you have to take that risk for the first time with the self publications. And yes, one thing more, novel writing for a debut writer is not at all a fine lucrative process. It is this is just a platform to establish yourself. Maybe later on when you reach the levels of Chetan Bhagat, or maybe not Chetan Bhagat, Savi Sharma or Preeti Shenoy, then you'll fall in that category where you'll be gaining some financial advantages. But just now, focus should be on just establishing yourself, getting readers to read your book, and establishing a name for yourself. And this, and yes, of course, self-satisfaction. Yes, that I have done something. I am an author now. I'm a published author now. This should be the criteria, and not the financial gains. They are far fetched dream. But yes, self-publication is not an you have to rely on them for everything.
Yeah.
For your publicity, for, but and one thing more, maybe we'll be talking about marketing later on. So writing and publishing is one thing, and marketing is totally other thing. So yes, but my publishers were good, supportive, and
I really admire your honesty there, because that's been very helpful. Thanks for such an eye-opening answer. Because usually, people have very rosy expectations, if I may call it so, that they feel that writers actually can earn a lot and they have a lot of money and their job is very easy. What do you have to do? You just have to sit on the keyboard and keep typing, and that's it. But
exactly.
this is the real picture, actually, if you ask me. The struggles are different. That's true. Yeah. So Neha, can you tell us what are you working on next? And what are your plans? Because you've always dreamt of writing.
Okay. Yes, I do have to work on next, because my next project is also women centric. Will be based on women's life only, but different from this one. As in this one, I have emphasized on this factor that men will be men. Why men will be men? Why can't women be women? And so I have shown the atrocities being carried on by men on women. But my next novel will focus on atrocities being carried on by women on women. Even these things also exist as much. Yeah. So details I have not figured out as yet, what characters will be there and what, but the theme is going to be this for my next novel. So still working on it, still in my mind.
Okay. Can you share your writing ritual with us? What are your writing habits like? Do you have a set timetable? Do you really write? Do you get up at this time? How do you write? How do you approach writing?
Okay, just now I'm doing nothing, not writing anything. But yes, when I wrote this book, then we belong to that generation, and there was not no computer, no laptops, and we used to write with pen, and that habit continues as of now. I can write in a flow. I can type on I can't do that I'll type on laptop and go on doing that. No, the thoughts come and words flow only when I'm writing with a pen. So yes, I began with writing in my diary, the story, the time. Yeah, I definitely gave 2 hours daily. Time was not fixed. Whenever I got free, then I used to write, but not a fixed time, but 2 hours daily to write. And while writing, I didn't worry about grammatical errors or I just used to keep on writing. Then this thing, I used to type on the laptop, because it is only that way you'll be submitting your entries, manuscripts and all that. So that was my editing portal too. While typing on the laptop from my diary, I used to edit side by side. So it was good. And you won't believe that I have found so many faults in my writing itself, copying from the diary to the laptop, and it was definitely an editing done. Too. So that was 2 hours for writing, 1 hour for typing daily. This was the time I used to give, and it took around 1 or 1.5 years for the whole manuscript to be completely typed on the laptop. And that way my script editing was also done and manuscript was also ready. And then of course professional editing was done after that. But so that was my schedule: 3 hours daily, 2 hours of writing and 1 hour of typing.
Yes. What are your writing inspirations? Any authors, any favorite books that?
Sorry?
Who are your writing inspirations?
Yeah. I can't point to anybody in particular. So many authors, so many writers, classical writers. Like you, I told you, Thomas Hardy was the first one, and then I really like Charlotte Bronte sisters too. All of their writings, Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre. That was in the beginning, and then later on, contemporary writers. Paulo Coelho, I think he's your favorite too.
Yeah.
I have read, I have read mostly all of the books by him. So, and then again, our Indian authors, Chetan Bhagat, Preeti Shenoy, I also read them. You can't, being in India, you can't avoid Indian writers. You have so all of them. In fact, one of my chapters, Anna, is Paulo Coelho has written one whole book about that theme, which I have written in one chapter, 11 minutes.
Yeah.
That is very famous book by him. So a little inspiration I took from there when I wrote this chapter and in my book. So I read everything, whatever is available, contemporary fiction, latest fictions, chick lits, everything. I go for everything.
Yeah. So what message would you want the readers to take away from your book?
Okay, message. Yeah, so the main theme of my novel is this only, that men will be men, and under this garb, this stereotype, they can do anything: ogling at women, eve teasing, or promiscuous things at work. They can do anything, and then they'll go scot-free under the garb of being men. Oh, men will be men. Why can't women be women? Why are they justified for everything they do, or for the same thing which a man does? Women will be just judged and will need to justify. Yes, and character certificate. They need a character certificate because you are a woman. You can't do that. So my book, after reading my book, even if one family gets this point is driven home, that there has to be an equality between both the sexes, both the genders. Why should women be inferior and the men superior in a household? Equanimity, like we say, charity begins at home. I feel that equanimity begins at home, and my book should drive this point home, that there should be equality between there should be nobody superior or inferior based on gender roles. Everybody should be, and women should be allowed to live a life of their choice, whatever, in which, whether they want to get married or not, whether they want to adopt a child, whether they want to be in a live-in relationship, they should be allowed to do that without being judged. I feel that if my readers agree with this, implement this in their lives, whether men or women, then it will be a great deal for me.
That's lovely. I just want to add here, guys, Neha's book, Are You My Twin Flame, is available for review at the HWR Book Club. And I've just shared the link in the comments. You can apply for the book club. It's absolutely free. And if you're interested in her book, you can write to us. We would love to share a copy, and she would definitely love to hear your thoughts on her book. It's the best thing that you can actually do for an author, to let them know how you enjoyed their work and all. Leaving a review for their work on Amazon and Goodreads is all we ask in the book club. So Neha, any writing tips that you want to share with all the writers who are aspiring, who are still working on their first book?
Writing tip, as it is, I'm also a first-time writer and not a very authentic person to give any tips as of now. But yes, of course, like they say, read and read. The more you read, the more good ideas you'll get, the more your vocabulary will improve. So reading is the prerequisite for writing, and then take take the leap. Don't hesitate. Just start writing whatever you want to write. And there's a lot of improvisation once you start writing. Now I see my initial works and then I see this work, there's a lot of improvement in that. So you just have to write, only then you will improve. You just can't expect ki your first work will be perfect and it will be up to the mark. No, it won't be. You'll write, you'll learn from your mistakes, and then only you can achieve. So it needs a lot of reading and a lot of writing, and don't expect wonderful results from your first work. Start with writing, start writing with short stories, then move on to novels. But yes, both a lot of reading and a lot of writing is required, and a lot of patience and perseverance is required. And you don't become famous with your first book or first draft. That is also true. You have to continue being patient and throughout. It will take time. Your book will, getting your book to people, that's what I was telling you, that writing and publishing is one thing, and then marketing and bringing it before people is totally
different thing. Yeah,
another thing, that as hard as writing. That is so apart from my self publishers, I've got another my PR Book Basket publishers handling my this PR thing, marketing thing. You have to work on that also. It doesn't stop at writing and getting published. So it's a tough path ahead, not a very rosy one. And there are so many authors, so many books out there. Once you get into this line, now you must be knowing so many authors, so many books.
Definitely.
So if you make a name for yourself, that is an achievement. That is going to be an achievement.
True.
So, but yes, don't lose faith. Just continue.
True. We'll be opening the floor shortly for questions. So in case you guys want to ask anything to Neha, you can leave your questions in the chat. I'll take them up for you. And Neha, in the meanwhile, I would request you to please read something out for us from your book. We would love to hear that.
Okay. Okay, so I'll read it from chapter 5 of my book, The Doormat.
Yeah.
Like my book is women-centric, and I have written about the sufferings that my character Naira and Kitu face. So a bit of glimpse of that about Naira's, what she speaks about herself. Okay. So, okay, so what she feels about marriage, that is this. Though marriage in itself is a gamble where one never knows whether one will hit a jackpot or fall flat on one's stomach. But usually in our Indian society, it is understood that marriage will work out with the aid of some adjustments and compromises, usually on the girl's side. Especially in the 90s, a failed marriage was a strict no-no, unlike in the present scenario, where divorces have become a commonplace thing. So a naive, inexperienced, and unexpected me was married to Akash. And there was absolutely no reason to doubt Akash at that point. But as we commonly believe in India, destiny plays an important role in our lives. My destiny didn't hold me in its good books. It had till now, but somehow got mad at me after my marriage. My meekness and humbleness became my greatest enemy. I was converted to a doormat without me even realizing that. Always ready to welcome everyone, I didn't realize that I was routinely overlooked, always trying to please others, accommodating to others' needs and demands, and never asserting my wishes was the modus operandi inbuilt in my composition. Oh, there was some problem with the camera. Okay. No problem. Okay. So maybe this. So this is an extract from Naira, what she feels about herself, about her marriage, and so I think that's all.
Can I ask you to just hold the book once to the screen?
Yeah.
I can take a picture for our social media. It would be great, actually. Yeah, just 1 second. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So guys, any questions that you would like to ask Neha? You can unmute yourself and speak in case you have an issue typing or anything. Yeah, I had a question actually. So you've been writing literary fiction and you've been writing about very relevant social causes that we have at the moment, and you're talking about them. So is that what you want to carry on, or do we see you experimenting with genres? Is that you would want to try maybe writing a murder mystery or something that you have always thought of doing, or maybe will do after some years once you've written all the stories that you have in your mind?
As of now, I don't feel of shifting the genre. Uh, just now, I think so. My focus is on this thing only, to
Mhm.
write women-centric books, though the theme will be different.
Mhm.
But just now, though, I am restricted to that field only. Uh, this being my first book, and my second book also will be, as I told you, I've got this theme only on my mind. I have not thought about what I'll be doing later on. Maybe at
Okay.
some point of time, I may think of it. But as of now, this is only my focus.
So for your second book also, you plan to go with self-publishing, or would you want to this time again try for traditional publishing first? And
Definitely, I'll try for traditional publishers, because,
Mhm.
like, my experience with I have already had my experience with self-publishing. Now, I hope, and I would like to go for traditional publishing, definitely. But this is going to take time, another 1 or 2
Yeah,
years.
true.
So
Because
let's
pandemic
hope.
has also impacted publishing a lot, and they are now clearing their backlog of 2019 and 20 still.
Yes. So it's a
Yeah.
long way still to go. And yes, finding your portal was a great thing for me.
Thank you.
Somehow a friend suggested the Himalayan writing retreat, and then
Mhm.
I went to your website, and then I saw it, and I found connecting with you and getting this opportunity with you has been a great opportunity for me and my book. Really
Thank you.
hope you're looking forward to reviews from your book club, and I would like to remain associated with you people, Himalayan Writing Retreat. I would also like to visit your
Sure.
retreat.
We
And
are open now. We can go more than welcome anytime. We are
okay,
hosting.
maybe I'll start writing my next novel
Yeah.
there.
Yes, the mountains can be the inspiration
Yeah,
always.
of course, I like that is the perfect place to for writing. That
Yeah,
is so. Uh,
true.
I'm thankful to that friend for suggesting
Yeah.
your
Yeah, we are
portal.
also thankful.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Neha, we have a question here from Mohit. He wants to know, hello Nehaji, I'm also an author and from Agra as well. So did you launch your book in your city? Did you find any takers? My experience in this regard has been poor. It is difficult to find buyers or even readers. Do you think organizing a book fair in a city will help?
Definitely, it will help. No, I have not done nothing in, as it is. There has been no offline launching of my book. There has as yet, but of course, lit fests and these are going to be good, because you need to bring your book before audience, before people should know, yes, that this book has been there, it has been launched. This has to be done. So of course, if anything happens in Agra, I know about Agra Lit Society, but they are not doing anything presently, but I'll keep in touch with them also if they do any. Yes, and of course this World Book Fair coming on in January,
Yeah.
Pragati Maidan, there I have my book will be there. Maybe I'll get a launch there. I'm working on it. So yes, of course, Mohit, this is very necessary, that your book, people come to know about your book, they know about the launch of your book, only will then they read it. If it remains hidden, then how will people know that they have to read this? So yes, and Agra, as of now, I don't know about anything, but yes, I'm working on it. That I get a launch in Agra also, because I have friends. I belong to Agra, a lot of friends there, and Agra Book Club is also there. I'm trying to contact people about that, and if I come to know about anything about it, I'll let you know.
Nidhi has responded, I wish the author all the best for the future. My copy of Twin Flame is on the way, the paperback edition. Thank you.
Thank you, Nidhi. Hoping to get a review and a feedback from you.
Any other questions, guys? Anybody else wants to share something? So I think that's it for today, Neha. Thank you so much for your wonderful time, and thank you everybody for sparing your weekend and spending this afternoon with us discussing this wonderful book. I once again urge you, please pick up this book, do read, and if you read, do leave a review. That's the best you can do for any author, to leave
Definitely,
reviews to let them know.
reviews matter so much Please share your views. They matter so much.
Yeah, and you can let
Yeah.
us know in case you want a copy. We would love to send you a copy as a part of the Himalayan Book Club and hear back from you on this. Yeah, thank you so much, Neha, for this.
Thank you, Namrata, and thank you all the participants for spending your
Thanks.
time with me. Thank you so much.
Have a
Bye.
nice weekend. Thanks.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.